What's going on? I'm Freddie. I'm back. It's been a while, I know, and this isn't even a wrestling list that I'm about to do, but I figure, let me come back doing a big top 17. Okay, so basically what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be ranking all 17 of the Disney Pixar movies to this point that have been released in my order. Now, this is just my opinion. Obviously, it is subject to be changed to anyone else, how they believe in it, and how they like the movies. This is just how I see it and how I view them. So we're going to start off number 17 with the movie called Brave. Brave. I've seen it once. I couldn't follow the plot really, and I didn't really like it. So to me, that just goes at the very bottom. The only time I ever watched it was when my friends and I tried to crack the Pixar theory, which kind of puts me put with a little more knowledge of these because we broke them down a lot more. At number 16 is Cars 2. Now, unlike many people, I'm a very big fan of the original Cars movie. I love the plot, and I love the way it was portrayed, as well as the games that came out along with it. But the sequel to Cars 2, it just didn't really hit that feeling of the first one. The plot was pushed. Mater was tried to be made into the main character in a lot of ways, and a lot of it was just overusage of what was probably the funniest character from the original movie. So hopefully Cars 3, which comes out in 2017, is a lot better and lives up to the first one more than it does the second one. Moving on to number 15, we have another movie that was not the original. It was the prequel in the Monsters, Inc. series, Monsters University at number 15. I liked the movie, but it was just not as good as the original. It had a lot of good points to it and a lot of nostalgia to the original movie, which came out 12 years before this one came out. But still, I like the original one better, and this one to me just belongs a little lower on the list. Number 14 is The Good Dinosaur. Now, believe it or not, I haven't seen this one. This one came out in November of last year, but I did not get to see it in theaters. I have heard about the whole plot, and I've read about it, and I've seen a video breaking it down, but I've not actually seen the movie from start to finish myself. So I can't really give it too much of a breakdown. I heard it was decent, wasn't one of the best. That's why it's not the last one on the list, and I'm giving it props for hearing good things about it. At number 13 is A Bug's Life. A Bug's Life, to me, was a very good movie about ants, or bugs, insects. There was a movie called Ants released in the same year as A Bug's Life, which was really good, but a lot of people prefer A Bug's Life over Ants because of the way it connects to a lot of people of all ages. Ants itself is just a movie about to connect to kids, while A Bug's Life connects to people both young and older. That's why I saw it for the first time as a 14 or 15-year-old, and that's why I enjoyed it more. I enjoyed it more than I did Ants. Just my opinion. Coming in at number 12, we have Ratatouille, a movie that you wouldn't think has a great chance at being a good movie when it's a rat trying to be a chef in France. That's a plot that doesn't seem great, but Disney Pixar does a great job with turning things that you don't think can be good into masterpieces. And they did a great job with Ratatouille, one of the better ones they ever did. Not yet in the top 10. Not in the top 10 to me. Before a couple of other movies came out, maybe it would be. But right now, it's not. Now, these next two were a tough one for me because I really enjoyed one personally, but because I had seen it a lot earlier than I did the other one, and I just enjoyed it more. But then when I finally saw the other one, I thought it was really good. I have to do it like this. Number 11 is Up. Up is a great movie. It's got that nostalgia factor. It makes you really emotional, and it really is just a great way of showing how real life emotions can be portrayed in a live action movie or in an animation movie. It was a really good movie. When I saw it for the first time, I couldn't believe I waited as long as I did. I waited almost 6 years until after the movie originally came out. I regret doing that because now I can sit there and watch Up and have a lot of fun watching it. Number 10 was the one I was debating with. It was Cars. Like I said before, I really enjoyed the original Cars movie. I thought it was really good, unlike a lot of other people. So to me, watching Cars is always a pleasurable experience, and I also love playing the game on PlayStation and PC, the same game actually, coming out of that. It's just a great premise to me, and the fact that they pulled off a whole world based off of animated cars and no humans, just the cars being the humans essentially, to me it's really, really cool, and it just barely beats Up because I saw it earlier and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I don't know, it's just a tough one for me. Anyway, at number 9 was the original Toy Story, Toy Story 1. All three Toy Stories are great. Let me just start off by saying that. I love every single one of them, and I can watch any one of them at any time. But watching the original Toy Story, it's... The animation nowadays compared to how it used to be is a lot different. You know, it's a lot better now than it was. So watching Toy Story, like, wow, this animation's not as good as it could have been. But you know what? For its time, it was really revolutionary. The first movie ever to use completely use computer animation, nothing else. And it did a really good job of it. And I really enjoyed Toy Story. If you haven't seen it, I don't know how you haven't seen it, but you got to see all three of them and watch them in order because they are really good. Next up at number 8 is a movie that was really highly touted as one of the best ones ever released by Pixar. It's The Incredibles. Incredibles, one of the first Pixar movies I ever saw. And I've been waiting for the sequel for a long time. It's finally going to be released in 2019, Incredibles 2. But this one, it's a great story of how a superhero family had to hide their power for a long time and then got to bring it back because of necessity. And they saved the world. And they regained the respect that they had lost because of all the things that had went wrong when they had to give up their powers. So if you haven't seen it again, I recommend checking it out. Number 7 is WALL-E. A movie that was silent for a good portion of it because it was just a garbage compactor on Earth after Earth completely was abandoned and was destroyed and polluted and not inhabitable by humans. It was really, really something that was revolutionary because having a whole portion of a movie be a silent portion and you're just trying to get the audience into it based off of the sounds that you hear, not because there's no words, and the visuals. It's amazing, and it's a really good piece of work by Pixar, and they really did a good job with it. That's why it's as high as it is. At number 6, Toy Story 3. This is the only movie on this list that every time I watch it, I will cry. You know, some of these things, there's emotional points where you'll cry the first time you watch it, maybe the second, but I cry every time I watch this movie. The portions at the end, in the incinerator, as well as when Andy gives away the toys, both of them really make me emotional. Really cuts deep into some of the childhood movies that I really enjoyed, and it's a tough one for me to not make this one higher, but it's really good, and I really, really love watching it, and I recommend seeing all these top 10 movies, and probably all these movies. They're all good. I'm getting emotional just thinking about Toy Story 3, but anyway, move on so I don't keep crying here. We got number 5, Finding Nemo, the original of the Finding series. We had another one released earlier this year. We'll get to that. But Finding Nemo is a really good movie. It's another emotional one because the Nemo gets lost, and his father and Dory, the father's friend, go off to find Nemo, and they have to go through so many problems to get to him. And when they finally get him back, it's so nice, and it's just a really emotional story and a really heartwarming one to see at the end. Number 4 is Finding Dory, the one that was released this year, the sequel to Finding Nemo. I personally think Finding Dory is just a tad better than Finding Nemo, simply because it's in a more modern age, 13 years later, and it's really well portrayed, especially the voice acting and everything. Dory goes to find her family with Marlin and Nemo, and they end up getting lost. Dory ends up getting separated from them, and now Marlin and Nemo go through a lot of trial and tribulation to find Dory. And there was this one scene with Gerald the sea lion. Oh my gosh, my friends and I, to this day, since we saw that movie, can't stop making jokes about it, and I don't think we will for a while. You really need to see it. There's a lot of funny jokes, a lot of good points in that movie, and it's a really upbeat, yet sad, emotional, and heartwarming movie that brings everybody to a real feeling of happiness at the end. Leave it at that. Number 3, Monsters, Inc. It's the original movie. Monsters University was the prequel. Monsters, Inc., though, it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's funny. It's got good moments. It's got emotion. It's got almost every element you need to make a perfect movie. Mike and Sully play so well off of each other. They do a great job. They do it in a lot of the scenes. I remembered from when I was a little kid watching it for the first time at 3 or 4 years old, and watching it on VHS. That's how old it was to me. I was watching it on VHS. A lot of these I have on DVD, but some I have on VHS, and that's one of them. And I really, really enjoyed that movie, and you really need to see it if you haven't. You know, the younger generation today needs to grow up and see some of these movies at least once. And number 2, this one might be a little controversial to me. It's Inside Out, another movie released in 2015. We talked about The Good Dinosaur released last year, Finding Dory released just 2 months ago. But Inside Out was a completely original idea, and the whole idea of it being a movie about a girl's emotions. It was so good, and it's emotional. It makes you really sad at points, it makes you really happy at points, and it really tugs on the heartstrings. A lot of these movies find a way to do that. You wouldn't think that kids animated movies would be able to do that, but Toy Story 3, Finding Nemo, Finding Dory, Inside Out, Up, all these movies are able to do that, and they really do a great job with it. And Inside Out to me is probably is the second best Pixar movie ever made, and rightfully so. Now, number one, if you've been keeping track, we talked about Toy Story 1, we talked about Toy Story 3. Number one on this list is Toy Story 2. Now, a sequel, you wouldn't think that a sequel would be better than the original, but to me, and a lot of people, it is, because it played off of the first movie and showing how great of friends Buzz and Woody became. It also took into account how great of a job Pixar does at emulating new characters into the series. And they did that with several other movies. With Cars, they tried. It wasn't necessarily that great of an experiment. They did it with Monsters, Inc. somewhat, Finding Dory and Finding Nemo, and Toy Story 1 into Toy Story 2, and then 2 into 3. All really easily and nicely played new characters into the movie. So, Toy Story 2 just hits the emotion portion, at certain points, the comedy portion, and the good movie portion. It's a really solid movie with a really great amount of action and good points that will make you remember that movie for years to come. And you can watch that anytime and still have a good laugh. Maybe want to cry a little and enjoy every second of the movie because it's just good. It's really good, and it's, in my opinion, the best Pixar movie ever. So I've ranked my second top list on YouTube. I did the Nickelodeon shows almost a little over a year ago, actually. But anyway, I will try to get some more WWE videos up soon. I'm going to be going to Monday Night Raw the night after SummerSlam on August the 21st. SummerSlam takes place August 22nd. I will be at Monday Night Raw. That's the second biggest weekend of the year behind WrestleMania week and WrestleMania weekend. I covered WrestleMania week. Didn't get many views on those videos. I hope I get more. Spread the word about my channel. I try to do my best, and at some time SummerSlam weekend rolls around in a couple of weeks, I'll be doing my best to cover TakeOver Brooklyn 2, SummerSlam, and Monday Night Raw, because it's the second biggest weekend of the year, and the SummerSlam card is already shaking up to be a really, really good one. When you look at, you have Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins for the WWE Universal title, a new title. You've got Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton, and then just announced last night, Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler for the WWE World Championship. So, I'll see everybody soon. Like, share, and subscribe. Do all that stuff, please. I will really appreciate it. Spread the word about my channel. I'll see everyone soon. Peace.